Hi, Bridget. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
Good. So we haven't seen each other since last week, but I know last week we were kind of talking about your past schools. So let's kind of start off with that. Can you just go over the schools that you went to?
I went to Brookdale. I didn't really like the community aspect there. It was just not like for me.
Okay.
Rutgers, it was too big. I just like, smaller campuses. And William Patterson. I just didn't fit.
Okay. So you were at 3 schools previously. Now you're at Georgian Court, so hopefully you can kind of find the right fit here. I'm kind of hoping you stay here and you graduate with us because that would be awesome. So I know you're in 4 classes right now because of probation, so let's kind of go over those 4 classes that you're in. All right, so according to your transcript, you are in child psychology. How's that going?
I love it. It's really interesting to me. I love children, so it's perfect.
Good. You really like that class?
Yeah,
That's
great.
Awesome. Okay, so adolescent psychology?
Yeah, no, I definitely like any psychology classes. They're really interesting to me. I always have been.
Okay, so American history.
I just can't, it's too boring for me. I just can't pay attention. History hasn't been my thing. But, yeah, I'm also taking math, and it's really, they're conflicting together.
Okay, so those 2 classes are kind of your biggest struggle right now, but both of your psychology classes are great.
No problem.
Okay, good. So we won't focus too much on the psychology aspect. If you're doing well in the courses, if you actually like the class, that's great. We will definitely focus more of our time on American history and math. So let's just talk a little bit about American history first. Do you have your syllabus with you?
Yeah, I do.
Do you have it for both math and American history?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Right here. There you go.
All right, so let's just look at these. All right, so how do you balance your time out? Because I see in American history, you kind of got a lot of papers, which is to be expected for a history class. So how are you doing so far on the papers? Have you handed any in?
I haven't even really started. I do, I try my best to do time management, but I'm really not a good, time manager.
Okay, and that's fine. That's kind of what the Student Success Office is supposed to help you with. I will definitely keep you on track with your time management, so don't worry. So let's talk a little bit about this first paper. You didn't do it yet, is that?
Didn't really start, no.
Okay, so it's due in a little while. You don't really have that much time left, so that's something that we gotta kind of jump on right now. So did you get your topic approved for this paper?
I have, yeah. That's still one thing that I got.
Okay, good. So that was good, so we'll just kind of cross that off. I like crossing things off of my syllabus because then it kind of shows you what you have left to do. So you have a first draft due in a couple days, it looks like, and then it's not due from a week from now. Okay. We haven't started the first draft. I know. But that's okay. So you have a couple days to and a first draft is kind of just like a rough get-together. So, we don't have to focus too much on our time of it, but we definitely have to start it because you don't want to not get a grade for the first draft, especially because that's when the professor will usually kind of tell you if your writing's in the right direction or if not. So what would you do if you had this, if you had to start it right now? What would be the first thing you would do?
I would try to start off with the introduction right away.
Introduction?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So do you think you would just kind of write the introduction from your own head, or would you do research first?
I would definitely try to do research.
All right, so we'll write research first, and then introduction second. All right, so intro. And then after that, what would be your next plan?
That's what I'm
trying to think of. Yeah. So my advice to you is to kind of do the research, like you said, and kind of figure out the main points of what the research is saying, and take notes while you're doing the research so you don't have to go back to the journals you were looking at. But you want your meat of the paper, quote unquote, to be the biggest piece of it, and you want to have your own ideas, but you also want to use research ideas. So I would do the intro and kind of break it down so it's not so overwhelming for you. So maybe because this paper is supposed to be 5 to 7 pages, you want to do 2 pages one day. And that could be the intro and maybe a little bit of the first actual meat of the body of the paragraph.
Okay.
So that could be one day. And I'll do a to-do list with you. This is kind of just breaking down this assignment a little bit. So maybe 2 pages a day. And I know that you won't be able to get too much done for the first draft if it's due in a couple days. But even if you get done a page or 3 pages to kind of show her that you're doing something. It's better than doing
nothing at all.
Exactly. So hopefully we'll be able to get something in for that. And then after that, I would just keep doing 2 pages and kind of giving yourself a little bit of time so you're not stressing at the end when it's due. And then the conclusion is just kind of wrapping up exactly what you already wrote about. It's kind of like the intro. It's very not detailed, so like that's why I like conclusions and intros. So we'll focus on that. All right, so let's do a quick to-do list with you because that kind of takes care of that paper, but I want to make sure you got this done.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely need a layout, so.
Okay, good.
Thanks.
Do you actually ever write things down in a planner or like a calendar?
Yeah, I should really get on the planner thing because I've used it in high school and everything like that, but yeah, hasn't gone in college.
It kind of slipped in college. That's fine. So hopefully we can kind of get you back on the track with that because I know if you have all these papers and all these syllabi in front of you, it's very hard. Yeah, it's very hard to figure out what dates things are due. So we'll just do a quick to-do list for next week. So let's kind of think about what your next week looks like. So do you work right now?
I do. I'm a waitress.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So
trying to pay for school.
So that kind of probably takes up a big chunk of your time if you're financially trying to be stable. I understand. I'm sure that's tough. But hopefully to do this will make it a little bit easier for you. So when do you usually work as a waitress?
Usually on the weekends because that's where I make my tips and everything like that.
Okay. So what kind of... Do you work like night or all day? Or
yeah, it could be all day. It could switch around and just night. Switches up all the time.
Okay. So maybe your weekend will kind of be for you because I don't want to overwhelm you with all this stuff, because usually if you work different days, we can kind of work around that, but if your weekends are hectic already, there's no reason to push your work to that. So let's try to not do anything on the weekends, unless you really have to. But let's look at Monday. So Monday, what would you willingly say that you can do on Monday? Would you start this paper? Would you do, because in your math, it kind of looks like just a lot of actually doing problems. So like that can take a lot of time. Right. So what would you want to actually do Monday? And something you know that you would complete.
I love writing, but it definitely depends on the topic. So writing, I would definitely try the intro or research actually.
So let's say we'll start research for paper. And I love to do this because once you like write something down and then you do it, just cross it off. It feels so good to know that you did something. So was that all you'd be doing on Monday, or like?
I guess I would try to squeeze in some of my math problems too, maybe.
Okay, let's do a couple of math. No, I think that's good. And especially because you have so many between one class to the other.
Right. It
looks like you have to do odd and even numbers, maybe even doing like 10 questions on Monday to kind of make that a little bit easier for you. So we'll do 10 questions. What about Tuesday?
Tuesday, then I would, I guess, start the intro.
Intro?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. And would you do anything else, or do you want to push it to Wednesday?
Another 10 questions in math.
All right, good. You're getting things done. All right, Wednesday?
Wednesday, I would take a little bit more chunk of the paper.
Okay. And remember now that I don't have your other 2 syllabi with you for your child psych course, so I'm not entirely sure what you have to do in those classes. Right. Do you know, is it like quizzes? Is it papers? Are they kind of...
They're mostly based on just studying just quizzes and tests.
Is it quizzes weekly or every other week? Because then we have to kind of put that into...
every other week.
Okay, so let's say we'll kind of just put one day to kind of study a little bit for those quizzes.
Okay.
Would you do that Wednesday, Thursday?
The quiz changes from day to day. So,
okay.
Right. So
let's just say for this week, Wednesday, you'll do a little bit of studying. And it doesn't have to be too much, as long as you know that you have time, especially if they're every other week.
Right. You have, at least like brief something over.
Yeah, just kind of look it over. So we'll do for psych, quiz, prep. And then Thursday is your last day before the weekend. So what do you want to kind of knock out?
Hopefully just sum up that chunk of paper.
All right. So hopefully by next week, if you follow this, you should be completely done with that paper by the time it's actually due, not just the first draft. Like, you'll be done with everything, so that's good. So finish paper. And I don't know if you are aware, you said you're a very good writer, which is awesome, but there is a writing service here on campus that can kind of look over your papers for you. I might not be able to help you with the content piece just because I'm not very good at history myself.
Right.
But the Writing Center is very good at that, and they'll be able to sit with you and kind of go over grammar, anything.
Great. I love that. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe setting up an appointment with that would be good.
Mm-hmm.
So this is kind of just going to be what your week looks next week. I know we have to meet frequently, so it's every week for us. So we can always do a to-do list if this works for you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely gotten me a little bit more organized and less stress.
Okay.
Less overwhelmed.
So hopefully this works. We'll keep doing this weekly,
Mm-hmm.
and if you think something else might seem a little better, we'll go for something else.
Sounds good.
Okay, so with that psychology class, I know you love psych. What are you thinking about doing?
That's the thing. I'm not really entirely sure what I want to do with it. So if you can give me maybe a little bit of ideas or...
Okay. I'm not a career counselor.
Mhm.
I was a psych major in my undergrad too, and I know how big of a major psychology is. It's great that you love it. I think it's a really, really good major for everyone. But I don't actually know. I would recommend you go to career counseling. It's a free service here. I can actually call them for you and set up an appointment. But with them, they might make you do an assessment or kind of just talk to you to see what you're good at. It's kind of a fit thing to kind of see where your personality fits in with a possible career. And like, we don't want to point you in the wrong direction. I certainly don't either. So I think doing that will be great for you. There's just a whole bunch of resources on this campus that, like, especially because I know you said, like, Brookdale didn't really work for you and Rutgers didn't because it was too big. But since this is such a small campus, hopefully we can connect you to the right resources. But that's kind of where we are today. Is there anything else that you want to go over? I mean, if you need help with this paper before I see you next week, like, please email me and I'll make a special meeting for you.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel a lot better about everything. Like, definitely less overwhelmed. So you helped me a lot today. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great.
So I'll see you next week.
All right, great. Thank you.